In session 6 of the Identity course, we focus on the final 3 recorded words of Jesus in John's Gospel before he died on the cross. Now, these are not the final recorded words of Jesus in John's Gospel because, as we read through, we discover that Jesus was raised physically from the dead. But they are life-transforming words when we understand what they mean. Do you remember what they were? Jesus said, "It is finished." Now, he didn't say, "I am finished." He said, "It is finished." And he was referring to his dramatic rescue mission. And at this point, he can say with confidence that everything that needs to be done in order for rebels to spend eternity with God has been accomplished. It is finished. Now, in session 6, we focused on 2 aspects of Jesus' rescue mission. First of all, we point out that Jesus had to suffer in our place. And when he was dying on the cross, he was suffering the judgment that rebels like you and me deserved. And because he suffered once and for all on the cross, when anyone becomes a follower of Jesus, they don't have to fear any more judgment because Jesus has suffered in our place. Now, in this session, we say very clearly that forgiveness is free, but it's not cheap. What did our forgiveness cost? It cost Jesus his life. There he had to suffer once and for all the judgment of God so that rebels could be forgiven and never have to face the judgment they deserved. So that's the first thing. He suffered in our place. But secondly, we also point out that he lived in our place. That Jesus kept the perfect standards of heaven on our behalf. 100% obedience. Here was someone who always obeyed his heavenly Father perfectly all through his life. And we say that when we have faith in Jesus, when we believe in Jesus, we are united with Jesus and we benefit from all that he has done. Now, the illustration I use in session 6 to explain this to people is the illustration of marriage. So you think of that couple on the wedding day, and there's a great sharing. They promise that they will share with each other everything that they have. What happens when someone becomes a Christian? Well, they bring their judgment that they deserve into that relationship with Jesus. And he says, "I paid for it. Once and for all, I've died on the cross. I've suffered in your place. I've paid for it all. There is nothing to fear." And what does Jesus bring into the relationship? He brings his perfect life of obedience, 100% obedience to his heavenly Father. And we benefit from that and so are perfectly prepared for eternity with God. Now, we've got to stress, and this is my tip for you, we've got to stress how joyful it is that Jesus can say, "It is finished." He doesn't say it is partly finished. "I've done some of it. There's still a little bit for you still to do." No, he says, "It is finished. I've done everything necessary. Everything has been accomplished." And so what that means is that anyone who is a Christian should have complete confidence that they will spend eternity with God. It's not arrogant to be confident that we're going to heaven, as long as our confidence is not based on our performance, on our morality, on how many good things that we have done, but is completely based on what Christ has done in our place. So stress how good, how delightful it is that Jesus said, "It is finished."